Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're digging into something really important, education in rural areas, specifically the equity issues.
Yeah, a critical topic.
We've got info here and a new solution. It's called the Rural Education Resource Sharing Platform, and it's from EON Reality. So our mission for this deep dive is really to get under the hood and see how this platform is supposed to, bridge those gaps we see in rural schools.
Okay.
Let's get started.
Well, the first thing that jumps out from the sources is the scale of the disadvantage. We're not talking small numbers here.
Right.
Rural schools often get, 15 to 40% less funding per student compared to urban schools.
Wow, 40%. That's huge.
It really is. And that funding gap, it affects pretty much everything they can do, obviously.
And it's not just the money itself, is it? It's the knock-on effects. Like for the teachers, the sources talk about isolation.
Oh, absolutely. Professional isolation is a big one.
Imagine you're the only physics teacher for miles around. Who do you bounce ideas off?
Yeah.
Where do you find that, professional community?
Exactly. It makes it so much harder to, get new ideas, find good professional development. It can really stifle things.
And then layer on top of that the tech issues.
Yeah, the digital divide, it's still very real. Something like, 35% of rural schools don't have reliable internet.
35%.
Yeah.
And nearly half, maybe 45%, don't have enough actual devices, enough tech.
Right. So you've got less money, isolated teachers, and poor connectivity. It's a tough mix.
Okay, so that's the problem space. Now, this platform, the Rural Education Resource Sharing Platform, how does it propose to help?
The core idea is pretty neat. Get schools sharing resources, create a network.
Sharing digital stuff, presumably. Lesson plans, things like that.
Yes, but crucially, not just digital. It's a hybrid system. It's designed to help share physical resources, too.
Oh, okay. That makes sense, given the internet issues, like sharing science kits or books.
Precisely. Microscopes, art supplies, you name it. Stuff that one school might have, but another nearby school desperately needs but can't afford. This hybrid approach is smart because it works around the infrastructure limits.
And this was developed using insights from EON Reality's AI-powered entrepreneur guide. What is that exactly?
From what we gather, it's an AI tool they use. It helps entrepreneurs, or in this case, the platform creators, to really zero in on the actual problem.
So help them identify the funding gaps, the isolation.
Exactly, and the connectivity problems, and not just identify them, but then figure out, okay, what specific features does a solution need to actually address these specific things? It helps validate the idea and map out a path.
Interesting. So let's talk features. For the schools, resource optimization, how does that sharing network actually function day to day?
Well, think about it practically. School A has a great set of robotics kits they use for one term. School B, maybe 20 miles away, wants to start a robotics club but lacks the budget. Through the platform, School B could see School A has these kits available to borrow. They arrange a loan, maybe for a small fee, maybe just collaboratively. It maximizes the use of stuff that's already bought and paid for.
Right. Avoids duplication, stretches those tight budgets. Makes sense.
Creates a kind of local lending library, but for school equipment.
And the digital side.
Yeah.
You mentioned a library accessible even with spotty internet.
Yeah.
How does that work?
Yeah, that's pretty clever. They're using what's called a progressive web app, or PWA.
Okay.
So it feels like a website, but it can act more like an app. When you do have internet, it downloads and caches essential materials onto the computer or tablet.
So it saves them locally.
Exactly. So if the internet goes down, teachers and students can still get to the core stuff lessons, maybe key videos or documents.
And it syncs up later when the connection's back.
It syncs automatically. Plus, they use smart caching, prioritizing the most needed offline content, and they compress multimedia files.
To save bandwidth.
Yep. Makes videos and things load faster, even on slow connections. It's all designed for low connectivity environments.
Okay, that sounds genuinely useful. What about the teachers? You mentioned isolation earlier.
This is huge. The platform aims to build a professional community, so that lone science teacher we talked about.
Yeah.
They can log in and connect with other science teachers across their region, maybe even the whole state, share ideas, ask questions, find mentors.
That combats the isolation directly.
It really does. Plus, they get access to a much broader pool of lesson plans and resources than their school might be able to afford on its own.
And can they adapt these resources?
Yeah.
Because what works in one place might not fit another rural context.
Good point. Yes, there are localization tools built in. Teachers can tweak content, adapt it to their local environment, even translate parts if needed for different language communities within their area.
Making it more relevant for their specific students.
That's the goal. And there's access to professional development opportunities through the platform, too.
So schools save money and get more stuff. Teachers get support and resources. And the students. What's the benefit for them?
Ultimately, it's about them getting a better, more consistent education, access to quality resources, even if their school is small or underfunded.
More up-to-date materials.
Hopefully, yes. And learning experiences that are maybe more diverse because teachers have access to a wider range of tools and ideas and content that actually reflects their local world because of those localization tools.
It pays for more equity, basically. Leveling the playing field a bit.
That's the core mission, yes.
Let's go back to that AI guide thing for a sec. You said it helped validate the idea.
Yeah, the process apparently involved the AI analyzing the market need. It gave a high score, like 9 out of 10, for market demand.
Which isn't surprising, given the problems we discussed.
No, it confirms there's a real hunger for solutions.
Right.
And it also rated the technology, needed the PWA, the offline stuff, as feasible, maybe an 8 out of 10. And it helped map out potential revenue streams, too.
Right, the business model. How is it supposed to be sustainable? It can't just rely on goodwill.
No, it needs a plan. The sources mention a tiered subscription model, so maybe a free basic level to get schools on board.
And then premium features for a fee.
Exactly. Things like advanced analytics, maybe more storage, premium content. They also mention revenue sharing with partners who provide content.
Okay, so incentivizing others to contribute good materials.
Right. And potentially earning income from services like training schools on how to use the platform effectively or customizing it for specific districts.
And regional licensing, maybe?
That's mentioned as a possibility too, yeah. It seems like a multi-pronged approach to keep it going.
It sounds like they have a phased rollout plan, too, not trying to boil the ocean immediately.
Yeah, that's usually wise. Start small. The plan mentioned launching an MVP, a minimum viable product, within 3 months, targeting just 5 school clusters, maybe 25 schools total.
Test the waters.
Yeah.
Get feedback.
Precisely. Then goals like getting 500 teachers registered and 100 resources shared within 6 months, and scaling up to, say, 50 schools across a few regions within a year with measurable results.
That sounds sensible.
Yeah.
Okay, so wrapping this up, this rural education resource sharing platform, it really feels like it's trying to be a holistic solution.
It does seem comprehensive. It's not just throwing tech at the problem. It's combining the digital library with physical resource sharing and, crucially, that community aspect for teachers.
Tackling the money issue, the isolation issue, the access issue, all at once.
With that hybrid online-offline approach tailored for the realities of rural connectivity, that's key.
For me, the big takeaway is that blend. It's technology enabling better human connection and resourcefulness rather than replacing it.
Well said. It's leveraging tech to strengthen the existing, human and physical networks.
Which leads to a final thought, maybe for you listening. If this kind of decentralized, community-focused, platform blending digital and physical sharing can potentially make a real difference for education in these under-resourced areas.
Yeah.
What other big societal challenges, especially in places where resources are tight, could maybe benefit from a similar model? Think beyond schools.
Yeah.
What else could work this way?
That's a really interesting question to ponder. Definitely something to think about.